In this video, I'm going to talk about how worry and anxiety can make it hard to fall asleep, and I'll teach you how to train your brain to stop worrying at night. Do you ever have that problem when your brain won't shut off? Like you're tired from a long day and you're finally getting to bed after all of your to-dos, and then you just lay there, not sleeping. And then your brain starts to bring to mind like every possible worry, like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that, or how are we going to afford those car repairs? Or you start thinking through everything you have to do tomorrow, and before long you're wide awake and you're getting more and more frustrated. I'm Emma McAdam. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and today you're going to learn one powerful skill so that you can fall asleep when you're worried or anxious. Now, this video is not a quick fix because I'm going to teach you a lasting solution to worry-based insomnia. So if you're watching this video right now and you're hoping to fall asleep, I will tell you what to do tonight, but that's going to come after I teach this lasting solution. This video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. They make some amazingly soft sleep masks. They are so comfortable. They're super customizable, so you can move these iPads around, and they also block out like 100% of the light in the room. One of my favorite things about these masks is that they put like no pressure on your eyeballs because of their unique shape. And this is, a valuable tool because the light that enters your eyes sends a message to our brain about how awake we need to be. So bright blue light environments can trigger our brain to be alert and to be active, and dark, cool light environments can trigger your brain to turn on those sleep signals. Go to mantasleep.com and use the code NUTSHELL to get a 10% discount. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about how you can train your brain to fall asleep faster, even when you're anxious. And using a sleep mask like this one from Manta can help your brain turn on that sleep response. So check out the link in the description to learn more about Manta's products and to get a discount. Now, our brains and our bodies are naturally good at sleeping. They like to sleep. So if we're not sleeping well, then it's often because we've developed some habitual way of keeping our brain turned on. I mean, we've gotten in the way of our own natural sleep response. And having a consistent routine before bed, like wearing a sleep mask or doing other sleep hygiene routines, can help your brain start to turn on those sleep hormones like melatonin. And that's because our brain likes to make these paired associations. So a bedtime routine gets paired with that feeling of sleepiness. And I go into a lot more detail on this in my video on triggers. So just like when you watch an ad with like a really beautiful hamburger and your mouth maybe starts to water, that's a paired association. And what we do right before we go to sleep can help our brain turn on that sleep response in the same way. It's that same type of paired association. So one thing that often happens with people with insomnia is that they developed the habit of thinking through their day when they lay down. So when you do this repeatedly, instead of associating your bed or laying down with that sleepy time, your brain associates your bed with worry time. And when we've practiced this over and over again, now the brain starts to think, lying down, let's get to work. And we've developed this trained response. We've taught our brain through habit that the time to worry is bedtime. But the good news is your brain is built to rewire itself. It's built to pair and to unpair these associations. So all we have to do is to retrain our brain to associate the bed with sleeping. But as Nick Wignall says, if you want your dog to stop pooping on the grass, you have to train it to poop somewhere else. So we have to train our brain to worry elsewhere. We can't just force our brains to stop worrying, and that's because worry serves a function. It's our brain trying to keep us safe, to get things done, and to make sure that we take care of tasks. So productive worry helps us remember to take out the trash or to pay our bills. Worry helps us take action and prevent problems. However, unproductive worry, it pops up at the wrong time, or it leads us to endless hypotheticals, or it spirals into these thinking patterns that leave us feeling anxious. And this can flood our body with stress hormones, and it can even leave us feeling anxious about anxiety. Like, oh no, I'm worried that I'm going to worry so much that I can't sleep. The antidote to worrying when trying to sleep is to process through emotions and worries and thoughts when you're awake. You need to just face your crap during the day. Let your brain have time to process through the worry. So one of the reasons that you worry at night is because you keep yourself so busy or so distracted throughout the day that your brain doesn't have the time to process and work through your concerns. Let's compare your brain to a computer for a minute. Let's compare worry to how a computer needs to do updates. So computers have to take little breaks once in a while to update their system, to organize their files, or to, update some piece of software. But if they're constantly prompting you to do an update and you're always too busy to take a break from what you're doing, then eventually either the computer is going to break or it's going to force you to do an update at an inconvenient time. It's got these urgent tasks, like whatever's going on in the forefront of your mind or whatever's keeping you busy in the moment. And then it's also got these important tasks, which you can put them off for a little while, but if you keep putting it off, eventually your brain's going to bring it to mind when you have nothing else to distract yourself with. So when we keep our brain busy or distracted throughout the whole day, this doesn't give our brain the chance to work through our worries until we try to go to sleep. So we all live in this culture of distraction. People take their phones to the bathroom with them because 2 minutes of sitting there just seems too boring. We often have distraction running while we're driving, exercising, eating, almost every minute of the day. And this prevents your brain from being able to run those background tasks like worry. So distraction stops you from resolving those worries when you're awake. And because you've put it off, the worries pop up at night and then they trigger that stress response and that keeps you awake. So if you want to stop worrying when you lay down at night, you need to slow down during the day and spend time away from your devices and let your brain process through those worries during the day. Now, because this is kind of vague, like it's this big picture task that requires some little efforts throughout the day, I'm going to teach you one small change that's really concrete that you can do every day that's going to help you fall asleep. So going back to the computer analogy, if you don't want your computer to force an update when you're supposed to be presenting your thesis, you just need to do the update earlier. So when it comes to worry, this means you need to plan in time to worry on purpose. This is deliberate worry. Deliberate worry means that you're intentionally and consistently making a time each day to address your worries and to make a plan. So this sends a message to your brain that you're going to take care of it so that it doesn't have to keep reminding you when you're trying to go to sleep. So your brain is kind of like a nagging mom. Do you want your mom to stop asking you to do your chores? If you take out the trash, if you just do it, then she'll stop asking. So if you want your brain to stop worrying at night, what you need to do is address the worries during the day. So the first step is to plan in a time each day to sit down and write down each of your worries. You just choose a consistent time and it usually will only take about 5 to 15 minutes. But if you've been avoiding a lot of things for a long time, then it might take longer at first. And eventually, with practice, this is just going to take a few minutes each day. Now, don't do this right before bed. So right after lunch or maybe right after dinner would be a good time, sometime in the afternoon. Choose a good time for you and set a reminder in your phone. When you're doing deliberate worry, you need to write down your worries. This is really important. There's something about writing things down that makes worries a lot more manageable. And as you plan this into your schedule, just plan to do this consistently for a few weeks. This is not a quick fix. This is a lasting solution. Okay, so on to step 2. After making your list, you need to sort through your worries. So your brain is amazingly powerful at thinking through future possibilities and imagining outcomes. And this is what makes humans able to build skyscrapers and iPhones. But it also means that your brain can imagine worst-case scenarios and catastrophes, no matter how unhelpful it is to do that or how unlikely those catastrophes are. So after you've written down your list, you want to go through your list and highlight which worries are actionable. So you're going to separate worries that you can act on from worries that are hypothetical or imagined danger. So this doesn't mean that they're fake or that they're impossible. It just means that they're not something that you're going to choose to act on in the present moment. So, for example, with coronavirus, hypothetical worries might be something like, what if this lasts for years? Or what if I catch it? And actionable worries might be, what are reasonable preventative measures I can take? Or how can I schedule my day tomorrow during lockdown? Okay, on to step 3. For the actionable worries, create a plan. Write down the next smallest action. Use a verb, an action word, and then set a reminder. Set a reminder to take the smallest action tomorrow, to do the smallest step. So if you're worried about a long day ahead of you, put a reminder in your phone for tomorrow morning to make a schedule for your day. Or if you're worried about protective gear, make a plan to look up patterns for a homemade mask. You don't need to solve all your problems, you just need to choose the next smallest actionable step and make a reminder for it. Okay, step 4 is acceptance. Some problems can't be solved right away and they need to be accepted. So what you're going to do with those is set those aside wholeheartedly. And you could even say this out loud, I can't do everything at once, or say, I can't control everything. This is really all about understanding your locus of control, what is and what isn't in your realm of control. Now, in my opinion, worry is about unresolved issues that you haven't faced and either taken action on or actively chosen to accept. So it is a choice to choose not to act. Worry comes up when we haven't resolved what to do and our brain keeps prompting us to face it and to make some decision about it. Worry basically says over and over again, do I need to do something? It's like a cloud that hovers over us. And by planning in time for deliberate worry, it's like taking that cloud, turning it into rain, like some solid water. And then you've got something more manageable, something you can do something with. So deliberate worry answers that question with a yes or a no. Step 5, shifting your focus. When you've taken the time to face your worries on purpose, it's time to be intentional about what your brain's going to pay attention to. So I recommend shifting your perspective to gratitude. Spend a little time remembering the things that are going well. Remind yourself of your successes. I have a routine I do before bedtime where I write down some of my wins for the day, and I practice a little bit of gratitude before I go to sleep. Lastly, if you're watching this video right now and you're trying to fall asleep, but you're worrying, get out of bed and do a brain dump. So that means just writing all your thoughts on paper. And when you've got all your thoughts written down, take that piece of paper and set it aside. File it somewhere and say out loud, I'm going to face this tomorrow. And after you've done that physical act of setting it aside, then you can go back to bed or you can try and re-engage your mind with a book or a meditation or a distraction for tonight. Now, again, this is the short-term fix, right? The long-term fix is facing your worries intentionally throughout the day. But for tonight, you could try my video on progressive muscle relaxation or a body scan or my Insomnia antidote video, which is just talking about gratitude as an antidote to worry. Now, all of these may or may not be helpful in the short term, but in the long run, facing your worries with a deliberate practice and setting a bedtime routine with good sleep hygiene can help you retrain your brain to fall asleep at night instead of worrying. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and sweet dreams.
Hi, this is called Therapy in a Nutshell with a Kid. I'm Maria and bye.
Perfect.
That's off me. That's off me. Got it.